So only religious people hold these beliefs. They include doctrinal beliefs about things like baptism or the Lord's Supper or how people get saved. Yes, it would be inappropriate to legislate one of these beliefs, but who's trying to do that? No one, as far as I can see.
Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at a video from Tim Barnett of the Red Pen Logic channel. I do believe that's a whole channel. Yes, it's the Red Pen Logic channel. So we're going to be taking a look at this Red Pen Logic video about whether or not religious beliefs should be legislated. He is going to be making the case that they should be legislated. So if you guys want to fuck around and find out how wrong Tim Barnett is about religious beliefs being legislated, then please stay tuned. What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? This guy right here, Tim Barnett, is going to be arguing that religious people should be enshrining religious beliefs into law. So they should be legislating religious beliefs. He's going to be making an argument from it, or for it. So we're going to go ahead, jump right on into what in the he's talking about.
Hey, religious person. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're welcome to your beliefs, but don't even think about trying to bring your beliefs into the public square. Your beliefs are not allowed.
It's not that religious people's beliefs are not allowed. It's just that you have to have a more substantial reason for creating some law or proposing some law other than God said it in my holy book. That's all that we're saying, is that it's not that, you know, any belief that a religious person has can't be like legislated, because a lot of the time, you know, the beliefs reach outside of their religious persuasion. But what really matters, what's your reasoning for making that a law? If it's because God said that gay people are bad, I don't think that that is a reason why LGBTQ individuals can't get married or anything like that. Of course, STR goes a lot further than just saying, ooh, nasty kind of thing. So it's not just like the fact that they're religious and they have beliefs. It's the reason behind wanting to legislate something. That's the issue that we're discussing here.
This is Red Pen Logic with Mr. B, where we help you assess bad thinking by using good thinking. Plus, we try to have some fun while we're doing it. In today's tweet, Richard Dawkins' Foundation for Reason and Science offers a tweet, ironically, with little reason and no science. The tweet says, we really
3 days later.
really need religious people to stop believing that they're entitled to having their beliefs enshrined in the law.
Well, okay, so this is the tweet. I can kind of agree with the tweet, being that I don't think that religious people think that their personal religious beliefs, specifically their religious beliefs, should be legislated. Like, oh, abortion should be outlawed because God said it was bad. Or, you know, LGBTQ individuals shouldn't be able to get married because my Bible says something about LGBTQ people. And I don't like them because God doesn't like them, and things like that. These are the things that we're talking about. And in this particular tweet, the very specific context of that is that religious people think that they are entitled to make laws using the reasoning of my Bible says so. And that's, you see this all the time, especially now. And this was posted up here recently. So especially now, we have religious people coming out of the woodwork, and they're trying to get around the First Amendment, but they still try to legislate different laws that are obviously religious laws. It seems a little weird to think that this isn't a problem.
According to the Dawkins Foundation, religious people should be disqualified from having their beliefs influence public policy.
No. Specifically, what it wasn't that their beliefs shouldn't influence policy or anything like that. It's specifically about believing that they are entitled to having their religious beliefs enshrined in law, not just their beliefs in general. So it kind of seems like you're already distorting what the tweet actually says here, because you've got to distort it in the way that encompasses all of their beliefs and not just their religious beliefs. It's just their religious beliefs that we're concerned with.
But with religious people excluded, who then gets to participate in the political process? Non-religious people like Richard Dawkins, perhaps?
No, I hope not. God damn it.
Well, that's convenient. This kind of thinking isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. But don't worry, Danger is my middle name. Actually, it's Edward.
That really doesn't surprise me there, Edward. In any case, no, I don't think that religious people can't have to be barred from legislating anything that they believe. What we care about, and I know I'm stressing this a lot, is the reasoning behind legislating some kind of law. And we've had these challenges many times in the past, like having public schools pray over the speakers and forcing students to participate in prayer. That is illegal. That should never be legislated into law. Just like even now we have several states trying to push laws that put the 10 Commandments in schools or other religious displays in public schools. Religious kids are not the only ones that are going to public schools. I know that you guys think that you make up 100% of the population, but you don't. There are other kids of other religions and non-religions that use public schools. So no, I don't want my son to go into school and have to learn about the 10 Commandments, where the first 4 is about stroking God's gigantic ego.
The Dawkins Foundation wants to exclude religious people from enshrining their beliefs in the law.
No, that's a distortion of what it actually says. In fact, what they're wanting them to do is to stop intrinsically believing that they are entitled to having their religious beliefs enshrined into law. Not that they shouldn't be able to enshrine their beliefs as like a whole set, but specifically believing that they are entitled to it. So, I mean, it seems like at every turn, he's got to misrepresent this tweet.
This thinking fails for 2 reasons. Here's the first reason. All laws legislate someone's moral beliefs. Each word in that sentence is important. Everyone has beliefs, things they hold to be true. I have beliefs, you have beliefs, and Dawkins has beliefs. I believe I have a beard. I don't know if you've noticed.
No, that makes me feel uncomfortable right there. Don't ever whistle at yourself in your own video. It just seems a little weird to me anyways. Yes, we all do have these moral beliefs, and we generally use those moral beliefs in order to create laws and everything like that. But I feel like he's still distorting what we're actually talking about here, because we're not talking about just general beliefs. We're talking about like religious beliefs. Sometimes those religious beliefs can intersect with what we traditionally consider to be morality, morals, and laws that are legislated. But what's important is that, see, in the law, we recognize that like murdering your fellow person in the society is a bad thing, because that's not how a society flourishes. And so we outlaw that. We prevent people from doing it. The reason why we have that law is not because the Bible says it's bad, because honestly, if you try to use that kind of reasoning, it can get really muddled with God commanding people to kill other people and everything like that. So it's really not a good reason to use God as the reason why you want to legislate that particular law. But my point is that while these do intersect, we're talking about the specific times when they don't intersect, and the reasoning for legislating something is because of their holy book.
I believe I have a Morky Poo who is super adorable. Aww. So cute.
It puts the lotion in the basket, or else it gets the hose again. This looks like the dog from Silence of the Lambs. I mean, that's bringing up a lot of imagery for me that I probably shouldn't mention. I totally see him with like a well in his basement. I'm just saying.
And I believe stealing my Morky Poo is wrong. Isn't that right, Paula? Now that last belief is different than the other 2. It's a moral belief. A moral belief concerns what is right or wrong, good or bad. And it's moral beliefs that are the kind of belief that gets legislated.
Well, yes, but you have to understand that while moral beliefs are the kind that get legislated, moral beliefs are like kind of a central thing for any religion. Well, any of the major religions, I would say, because like there's a whole moral argument for God that he would definitely make, that, you know, God is the only reason why we have morals And so I feel like there's a connection here that he's not making quite known to the viewer. And he's trying to make it seem like everybody's moral beliefs are totally devoid of religion. They're really not. They're tightly interwoven into religion. And so that's why we have to be extremely careful with it. That's why it's even more important to examine the reasoning behind wanting to make something a law. If your primary reason for making something a law is because your holy book says, oh, this thing is bad, then maybe we shouldn't make that law for that particular reason. If you can come up with a good reason that doesn't include your holy book, I'm sure that we would be perfectly fine passing that law. But make sure that it has the reason why you proposed it does not include God. That's all that we're asking. Technically, what the tweet's asking you to do is to stop thinking you're entitled to put your religious moral beliefs on blast whenever you're writing these laws, or get way too carried away with passing these laws that you want to start passing things that definitely promote Christianity in the public square. Those are the kinds of things that we're concerned about.
Think about it. Why do we have laws against stealing other people's stuff? This isn't a trick question. We have laws against stealing because people believe stealing is morally wrong. In other words, stealing is illegal because it's immoral.
Right. And we would consider that to be immoral, especially living in a society. Trying to connect this to religion. If you were to use a religious reason for wanting to make this law, then you're going to have a lot of issues with defending that reason. Because in various places in the Old Testament, you could make the argument that God would allow stealing in certain situations, like stealing a person from another nation in order to enslave them. That's perfectly fine by Bible standards. This is why it's important for us to separate the laws that we actually pass and what's in our religious texts. While they may intersect on occasion, the religious text should not be the reason why we make the law.
All legitimate laws are grounded in some moral belief some person holds. Without moral grounding, laws would simply be exercised in power. And that's not right. For example, murder laws are good because they're based in the belief that it's wrong to intentionally kill innocent human beings.
Yes, I mean, I guess I can agree with that, but also like the laws surrounding murder and things like that are really nuanced. It's not as surface level as he's trying to make it, because you've got situations where a person is defending themselves, which I guess that wouldn't include like an innocent person. But does that mean that it's perfectly fine for you to go out and shoot and kill somebody that's guilty of something? Like, the way that he's proposed this here is a very naive sort of way in order to describe our laws on murder.
Every law reflects someone's moral point of view. So the question then isn't, should we legislate moral beliefs, but rather, whose moral beliefs should we legislate?
No, because, a religious person can have a moral belief, and even the reason why they have that moral belief is because they were taught it in their religion. But there could be secular reasons in order to pass a law. Of course, he's going for the really easy ones that everybody would consider to be like immoral, like stealing, in his very naive sense, is immoral. Killing another innocent person is immoral. So, while true, these people have these moral beliefs, even if they are religiously based to them personally, they can make a cogent argument for them in a secular way. It would be perfectly fine. So it's not religious people can't legislate laws. It's that religious people can't think that they're entitled to be able to legislate laws based primarily on their holy book.
So everyone has moral beliefs they think should be enshrined in the law, as Dawkins puts it, not just religious people. So why does Dawkins single out religious people?
Okay, so a couple of things here. First of all, that's probably most likely not Dawkins that's actually tweeting this. It's his Foundation for Reason and Science that's tweeting it, which more than likely has its own social media director or whatnot. ever. I mean, I don't know, but it's most likely probably not Dawkins. But in any case, we're still talking about legislating religious reasons, like having religious reasons for legislating something, not that religious people can't take part in the legislative process. Oh, and he's looking to single out religious people because religious people make up the main portion of the United States population, or in the population in most countries, I guess. But here, at least in the United States, Christians make up the most population. So they're advocating for religious people to stop thinking they're entitled to having their Bible enshrined in law. That's what they're saying. If you have another reason for some other law other than the Bible says so, then it's perfectly fine.
Saying their beliefs should be disqualified. This leads to the second reason why this tweet fails. Not all beliefs held by religious people are religious beliefs.
Then we're not talking about those, dipshit. We're just talking about the ones that are primarily based on the Bible.
Religious beliefs are very particular things. They are beliefs about religious things. I'm not going to quickly here, am I?
No. Definitely not there, buddy. If you could speed it up a little bit and actually, I don't know, say something interesting, that would be great, but I don't think you're going to do that.
So only religious people hold these beliefs. They include doctrinal beliefs about things like baptism or the Lord's Supper or how people get saved.
I like how he picked out things that are routinely not legislated and are not actually argued about in the public space. These are not things that regularly come up. All those things are definitely religious beliefs. The things that we're really concerned about are the 10 Commandments on public properties, like schools and courthouses and stuff, forcing children in school to say a prayer, forcing children in school to say anything that sounds like a confirmation of faith, forcing civil servants out there to do the exact same things. And then there's the other various religious arguments for banning abortion, or preventing LGBTQ people from getting married, or preventing trans people from using the correct shitter. All of these things are the things that are heavily debated in the public sphere. Apparently, I just need to say bathroom instead of shitter. I don't know anywhere in the Bible where Jesus is like, and listen, guys, shit in the correct places, okay? It's going to be very important later.
Yes, it would be inappropriate to legislate one of these beliefs. But who's trying to do that? No one, as far as I can see.
No, all of the radical religious Republicans that are in the government right now are trying to do those exact things. They even bend science in order to try to make it look like their reasons are definitely not because God says so. Like all of these abortion banning bills that are being put up, and some of them have even been passed, to where you can't even get an abortion after 6 weeks of being pregnant. And I got a news flash for everybody out there. Most of the time, you don't even know that you're pregnant before the 6 week mark. Before the 6 week mark, you may have noticed that you've missed a period. Maybe you've missed a period or something like that. You just simply don't know that you're pregnant. And now, like in Texas, you cannot get an abortion if it's after that point. They fail to realize any of the medical information about abortion and abortion services and other women's services. Hell, these dipshits even picket women's clinics and women's health clinics and everything like that for when people are just going there to get cancer screenings and shit. These people are total dipshits on this, and these are Republicans that are in the government right now trying to legislate these things. These things are important.
Now, you might be thinking, what about laws against abortion or against same-sex marriage? Aren't these examples of legislating a religious belief? No. Here's why.
Oh, you're going to spit me some bullshit? Hold on a second right now. Oh, holy religious hell. Come on, give me that pure, uncut bullshit right now there, Timmy B.
The argument against abortion isn't based on religion. It's based on moral common sense.
No, it's not.
It is wrong to kill an innocent human being. And pro-lifers point to science and philosophy, not religion, to point out that abortion kills an innocent human being.
No, it does not kill a human being. what we're talking about here is like personhood and everything like that. And while everybody kind of draws an arbitrary point at which a fetus becomes a human being or a baby, I feel like the ability of the fetus to survive outside of the womb on its own kind of is a good argument for saying, well, at that point, that is a human being. Prior to that point, though, I would not consider it to have attained personhood. And so you cannot say that abortion, when especially when most abortions occur prior to the 13th week of gestation, you cannot say that that is a human being, okay? It doesn't have like a social security number. It doesn't have any kind of identifiable thing about it that identifies it as a human being. Now, is it human? Sure, it is human, but it also cannot survive outside of the womb. So it cannot be a human being. You're trying to turn all of this into some kind of like medical reason, and you're trying to bullshit us by saying that, oh, there's medical reasons why pro-lifers argue that it's murder. No, not really. Most of the pro-lifers that I have engaged with have all cited the Bible as their reason for thinking that abortion is wrong or abortion is murder. They always quote that line from Joshua or whatever in the it was, where it says, I have known you since I stitched you in your womb. Except they conveniently leave out that at every single turn God specifies that you don't attain life, or you're not considered to be alive until you draw your first breath. They conveniently forget about that shit, and they focus on the verses that definitely coincide with what they feel is right and everything like that. Well, I think it's like one or two verses that talk about it, but the one or two verses, there's more evidence in the Bible that you do not attain personhood until you draw your first breath than there is for like at conception. Like it never says at conception in the Bible other than those one or two verses where it talks about being formed in a womb or some kind of shit like that. So it's definitely not scientifically based that the pro-lifers have their arguments. It's definitely based on religion, on their holy book. Now, that's not to say that some pro-lifers out there do use the skewed science in order to justify their position, even though they're not religious. I have heard of pro-life atheists out there. But the majority of pro-lifers, which seems to be what he's talking about here, are definitely based on their arguments for being pro-life, are definitely based on the Bible. So this is just pure uncut bullshit.
Therefore, abortion is wrong. Likewise, arguments for traditional marriage can be made without quoting chapter and verse.
Really? I would love to hear some of these bullshit arguments. Please, can you go through them? Maybe you can make a cogent argument here.
Remember, just because a religious person holds a belief doesn't mean it's merely a religious belief.
But being opposed to same-sex marriage is primarily a religious reason. It's always cited in any kind of discussion that I've had with people about, same-sex marriage. It always ultimately comes back to God said it was bad.
Look, most religious people are against stealing. In fact, the Bible says you should not steal.
I'm so glad he brought up the 10 Commandments there, because in the 10 Commandments, it also lists women as property. Timmy B, are you on the train to start treating women like property again? Huh? You want to start doing that there, Timmy B?
But that doesn't mean that the belief that stealing is wrong is a religious belief. Just ask your non-religious friend why he's against stealing. I bet he doesn't quote the Bible.
Well, true. This is a basic tenet of like a successful society. Stealing is bad. This is not a way for us to live and everything like that. For you to like say that, oh, stealing is wrong because it's in the 10 Commandments or something like that, you've got a lot of things to overcome. For instance, in let's say, of course, this happened prior to the Exodus, so maybe it doesn't count, but when the Israelites were leaving out of Egypt after Moses got the Pharaoh to let his people go, they stole shit as they left. Well, God compelled the Egyptians to give them shit. Come on, that's basically stealing at that point. They took shit from the Egyptians as they left Egypt. And then you have the several laws and everything like that all of these are only concerned with the Israelite people in that nation. Does that mean that we can go to another nation and steal shit from them? I highly doubt it.
Here's the basic rule. If a non-religious person can make the same basic argument about a belief that a religious person can make, then it's not a religious belief. So what have we learned? The Dawkins Foundation wants to exclude religious people from enshrining their beliefs in the law. This fails for two reasons. First, you can't prohibit someone from legislating their moral beliefs, since all laws legislate someone's moral beliefs. That's how the legislative process works.
So again, he's distorting what the tweet is saying. It's not that we don't want religious people to be taking part in the legislative process altogether. We just don't want religious people to think they're entitled to use their Bible in order to inform them about what laws we should make. And we don't want the Bible to be the ultimate reason as to why you make a law. Like, any of these abortion banning laws, or the law against LGBTQ marriage, or any of these other things. I don't want anyone to legislate that public schools have to force the 10 Commandments in my child's face. I don't want to have to explain to my child about how women are listed as property on these 10 Commandments, but these are supposed to be where we draw our morals from? I mean, how is the teacher going to teach this? Is the teacher going to go in there and teach all of the Jewish kids that might be in the class that the 10 Commandments and the Christian God are the things that you should focus on? I feel like those kids would be very confused, because it's like, we're down with the 10 Commandments, but the fuck about the Christian God thing? And there's just more than Jewish kids, and there's Muslim kids. Of course, there's Christian kids all over the place. There's non-religious kids. We don't want our kids to be forced to learn that from a teacher. That should be my job, to teach my kid about any religious belief that I think that he needs to learn. It's not the public school teacher's job to force her belief on my child.
Second, not all beliefs held by religious people are religious beliefs. This distinction is really important because some want to label a belief as religious just so they can reject it.
Well, no, we don't want to label it as religious just because we want to reject it. Normally, we label it religious because you're using the Bible or some other holy book in order to justify why you think that should be a law. What you're saying here is kind of a straw man argument. You're straw manning the whole idea that we want to prevent religious people from taking part in the the legislative process. You're straw manning the tweet because the tweet is merely wanting religious people to not think that they're entitled to have those religious beliefs, those religious reasons behind whatever law they want to legislate. We don't think that they should be we don't want them to think that they are entitled to that. So that's what the tweet's concerning. He's also kind of equivocating things here with the beliefs, because while the tweet and what I've been making an argument for tonight has been more about specifically religious beliefs and not just all beliefs, but he wants to make it out to be like these religious beliefs are just normal beliefs that people want to be religious beliefs. But I don't know. It's just kind of a fucked up thing. I don't know what else he's got to say.
I'm looking at you, Dawkins. As it turns out, no one is trying to legislate strictly religious beliefs. And the examples that are typically given are held with equal confidence by non-religious people.
No, they're held for bullshit reasons. Like the scientific reasons that they would give for like preventing LGBTQ people to get married or even adopt children, and the science reasons for wanting to prevent abortion. Those are all like skewed science all around. Whenever they try to use science, they have to twist it in ways. So if you have to twist science in a way to make sense of your own religious reason for believing something, I kind of feel like at that point, you got to call them disingenuous. You have to know that you're twisting what the science is saying.
Since all people legislate their moral beliefs, no people, religious or non-religious, black or white, gay or straight, with hair or without, should be excluded from the public policy process. Class dismissed.
Now he's got to go and take his little dog down to his well and make sure whoever gets lotion down there. So that's going to be it for the video tonight. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I would really love to hear what you guys think about the way that he's twisting this tweet ways twisting the information, especially whether or not you know, like some non-religious arguments against LGBTQ people being able to marry or even adopt. That's going to be next week. The STR organization says that LGBTQ people can't even adopt children. And then the non-religious reasons for preventing abortion. I feel like all of those things that we're actually concerned with in the public forum that definitely have religious reasons for proposing them, I feel like the science is skewed on these secular or non-religious reasons for them. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week. I hope that you guys will join us next week, and I will see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.